Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Tornado Talk. We're here on Monday nights at Dugan's Pub in Brevard, North Carolina, 29 West French Broad Street. We've got an exciting show on tap for you tonight. We'll talk a lot of baseball. We'll hear from head coach Sean Walsh along with baseball student athletes Ben Melton and Cross Robinson. We'll talk some softball with captains Mari Cook, Brittany Franks, and Olivia Paulden, as well as head coach Bob Lau. And we'll wrap up the show with some men's lacrosse talk with Hewitt Farr and Sean Pratt, two of the seniors from the men's lacrosse team. Do want to thank our sponsors, Arby's, Zaxby's, Holiday Inn Express, Hampton Inn, Ingalls, Mission Sports Medicine, Comporium, Pepsi, and Dugan's Pub. Do want to share with you some breaking news from this afternoon. Two more USA South Conference Athlete of the Week honors for BC student athletes. Women's Lacrosse Defensive Player of the Week goes to Casey Collins, the Tornadoes goalkeeper, who had a big week with 16 saves and 8 ground balls and 2 wins for women's lacrosse. Also, Men's Tennis Rookie of the Week, one of our guests from last week's show, Tyler Frazee, wins the Men's Tennis Rookie of the Week. And those two student athletes mark the 15th and 16th USA South Conference Athlete of the Week honors for this season. So great news and congratulations to those two, Casey Collins and Tyler Frazee. To catch you up since we saw you last, men's lacrosse over the weekend, a big 17-7 win in USA South Conference play at Methodist in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Jack Shade leading the way with 5 goals. Up next for men's lacrosse, a road game at William Peace this Saturday. More USA South Conference action. That's 1 p.m. in Raleigh, North Carolina this Saturday. Women's lacrosse had back-to-back USA South Conference road wins on Saturday and Sunday. A 10-8 win over LaGrange. Makaya Vacchiano with 6 goals. Hannah Scarf with 3, and Casey Collins winning that USA South Conference Defensive Player of the Week award with 7 saves. And then on Sunday, a hard-fought 7-6 win over Huntington in Alabama for women's lacrosse. Hunter Denny leading the way offensively with 3 goals, and Collins with another big day in the goal. Next up for women's lacrosse at Piedmont this Wednesday, and then at Greensboro on Saturday, and at NC Wesleyan on Sunday. Softball last week had a doubleheader win in their USA South Conference opener, sweeping Berea, both games going run rule fashion. 9-0 win in Game 1 and a 13 win in Game 2. Michaela McCoy earned the starting nod in both contests for the Tornadoes and earned a victory in both those starts. And we'll hear from some of the Tornado softball student athletes a little later as we'll break down that big USA South Conference opening win. Luck didn't go the Tornadoes' way this past Friday, losing a doubleheader against non-conference foe Shenandoah, and also lost a doubleheader at Averett in Virginia. The Tornado softball team will be back in action this week with road trips at Maryville and at Agnes Scott. Men's tennis, a tight 5-4 loss at Berea. Singles wins by Tim Hanks, Tyler Frazee, along with 2 doubles wins. But the Tornadoes come up just short to Berea in men's tennis. Women's tennis, on the other hand, a dominant 9-0 win over Berea. Singles wins by Samantha Seppi, Kelsey Kushner, Darden King, Margaret Correll, Eleanor Flannery, and Carmen Boone. Kushner now on a 5-match singles win streak. Flannery remained undefeated in singles play. And an opportunity this week for Tornado fans to see tennis in action. Home, both men's and women's tennis will be in action on Wednesday versus Maryville. That's at 1 p.m. at the McCoy Tennis Complex. And then there's more action on Saturday if you want to come on out. Both men's and women's tennis will be in action this Saturday at the McCoy Tennis Complex. Men's golf, Austin Fisher finished in a tie for 5th place at the Tusculum Invitational over the weekend in Greenville, Tennessee. Track and field opened its 2019 season this past weekend at the Lenore Rhine Southside Power and Fitness Invitational. Great to see their season underway. They'll continue their season this weekend at the Winthrop Adidas Invitational in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Cycling's continuing its road racing portion of its schedule They will be in action this weekend at Clemson, and climbing continues to prepare for the regional championship, which takes place on March 30th in Nashville. And that brings us to baseball, and got a lot to break down with our first guest here as he makes his way to the program, making his 2019 Tornado Talk debut. Great to be joined now by head baseball coach Sean Walsh. Coach, thanks for joining the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, Coach, a exciting week this past week for Tornadoes baseball. And before we get to the weekend series against the 11th ranked team in the nation, Huntington, I would like to catch up viewers a little bit about what happened last Wednesday in Lexington, South Carolina. You know, a lot of folks might not have been able to watch that game on a broadcast, and we're maybe just getting updates via social media. But you, of course, were there, you know, and it ended up in a 7-6 win over Roger Williams. What was the key to that win and the Tornadoes ending up on the winning side of the ledger?
Yeah, I think the key was just scoring some runs early. You know, we've really struggled offensively this year. So I think when the pitchers have a few runs to work with, I think it definitely helps them than always having to, you know, work from behind. So I think that was key. We had a 3-run first inning and just kept adding, and pitchers threw well, and then there was a little bit of a controversial end to the game. I don't know if you saw that. The game ended on a obstruction call on a double play, and we were glad to come away with a win there. But, yeah, there was a little fireworks at the end there, but it was good.
Yeah, you never know what the game of baseball might throw at you. In that game, Ryan Roon, a big performance, 2 for 3, 2-run scorer, 3 RBIs, and he blasted a solo home run. Talk about Roon a little bit in that game, but also how important he is to your lineup.
Yeah, he's been a solid contributor for us for, you know, this is his 3rd year now with the team. And, yeah, he's always pretty steady. You know what you're going to get with Ryan. He's going to probably get you a hit or 2 a game and play solid D. And he just really battles in his at-bats, too, and just can be hard to pitch to.
Hitting .301 on the season, 10 RBIs, you know, really in many ways your most productive hitter as far as the regulars in the lineup. Then that brings us to this weekend where the Tornadoes originally were going to host Huntington for a Friday, Saturday, Sunday 3-game series. Some heavy rain earlier in the week. The decision was made to make it a doubleheader on Saturday. And then in Game 1 of that series versus the 11th ranked team in the nation, Huntington, Brevard comes away with the 2-1 win. We're going to hear from the winning pitcher, Ben Melton, a little bit, but let's start with him. In that game, Ben goes 8 innings, 3 hits, 1 run. It was a unearned run and 3 strikeouts, but, you know, a excellent performance from Ben Melton, you know, really to set up that victory for the Tornadoes. You know, first comment on Ben as far as how big he came up in that game against Huntington.
Yeah, he was great. You know, he's been really good past 3 weekends, but you know, on a, you know, going up against a team's ace, you know, that's what you need to try to win a game, and he was great. Yeah, it was just that 1 unearned run, and we could have helped him out a little more with that. So yeah, he was great. He battled, competed, mixed it up, and kept him off balance a little bit, and but yeah, he's been really great for us this year. It's been good to see for sure.
2-1 lead heading into the 9th inning, and Kyle Williams enters the game in a save situation. And the Tornadoes, you know, both Williams and the Tornado defense able to shut the door. How big was that for them? You know, hey, here's a chance to beat the 11th ranked team in the nation, and they're able to finish it off in that 9th inning.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, we've lost some close games this year and haven't been able to finish out some games. So it was big for us. Yeah, I think beating a team like that is good and just shows us we can compete with anybody. And like I said, we've lost some close games to some good teams along the way. So, yeah, it was good to, you know, Wednesday as well be on the winning side of some of those close games is a good thing.
Yeah, so back-to-back wins after the win over Roger Williams, then the win over Huntington. One other player I do want to mention who came up big in that Huntington game, what ended up being the game-winning RBI, J.J. Wilkes. He's your starting first baseman, along with Roon, you know, leads the team in RBIs. Tell folks a little bit about JJ and what he brings to the team.
Yeah, he's been a solid player for us. Past couple of years. He's a sophomore now, and he played quite a bit as a freshman last year. And both those guys have been in the middle of the lineup, and I think they're guys you want up with guys in scoring position. I always feel like they're gonna put the ball in play and give you good at bat, and try to get those runners in. So yeah, they've been good for us. Like I said, just with guys on base, those are some of the guys that we want up in those situations for sure.
Now, game 2 of the doubleheader went the way of 11th ranked Huntington 5-1. Ryan Roon with a good day at the plate, 2 for 4. What was, from your vantage point, that game 2? What really determined that outcome, and as far as Huntington getting that win?
Yeah, I mean they're a good team, so you got to give them credit, their pitcher credit. I thought we had a great start from our starting pitcher as well, Matthew Scavato. He kept us in the game. Unfortunately, we just didn't do enough offensively, and that's kind of been, I think, one of the disappointing things for us this year is our offense and not being able to score runs, especially in our conference games. So, yeah, like I said, I know you got to give their pitcher credit, but I do think we could have did more offensively than we did. And we've had some guys hurt this year, some key contributors from last year, so that's kind of hurt us a little bit too. But yeah, that's just an area we gotta get better at if we're gonna win some more games this year.
So split those first 2 games of the series versus Huntington. One last player I do want to mention from Saturday, because he came up big several times, and it seemed like he was getting more opportunities out there than any other defensive player on the ball field, and that was Jack Atkinson, your center fielder. A grand total of 16 putouts in the doubleheader, 9 putouts in that game 1 of the doubleheader, including one diving catch that was a key part of the win in game 1. Talk about Jack, from a defensive perspective and his range out there in center field.
Yeah, I think he's definitely one of our better defensive outfielders for sure, and he's kind of been thrust into duty a little bit. We've had a bunch of injuries to our outfielders this year. I know a couple times he was limping around out there, and I didn't even want to ask him how he was doing because we really didn't have any options to put out there anymore. So I was just kind of looking the other way anytime he'd come up limping. But yeah, he was all over the place. He kind of got run ragged there, but yeah, he made some great plays, and he is a very good defensive outfielder. He gets good reads and tracks the ball down well. But yeah, he had a great game there defensively.
So the series moved on till Sunday, a rubber match situation between Brevard and Huntington. And one of our other guests, Cross Robinson, gets the starting nod in that one and just was sensational. 7 innings pitched, 10 strikeouts, a career high, no runs allowed. Great performance from Cross. Can you expound even further on just, how strong Cross was on the mound for you on Sunday?
Yeah, it was a great outing. One of the better performances I've seen as a coach here. 10 strikeouts, and one of the problems with striking out a lot of people is your pitch count gets up there too. But yeah, it's unfortunate that he couldn't come away with a win right there. Like I said, about the game 2, we just couldn't get anything going offensively. Had the inning where we had bases loaded, 1 out, and we had a double play, and that was unfortunate. But yeah, he really competes out there and just gave us a shot. You should win a game, when you get 7 scoreless innings from a starting pitcher. But yeah, unfortunately, our bullpen couldn't hold it. But like I said, yeah, we just couldn't get anything going offensively. I guess you do have to give their pitcher credit again, and they are a good team. But yeah, I wish we could have done more for him in support in the bullpen and offensively, because he really deserved to win that game for sure.
Well, from my vantage point, Coach, certainly what seems to be evolving is, the starting pitching being really a strength of this team, between Scavato, Robinson, Melton, and, your senior Michael as well, Michael Merriman. You've got some depth there too, beyond just the weekend rotation. Agree with that statement that, starting pitching is really the storyline thus far this season?
Yeah, we've had a lot of great starting performances this year, and unfortunately we've squandered quite a few of them. But yeah, that has been our strength right now, and they're really just giving us a chance to win. And Yeah, I just wish we could do more for those guys offensively too. I mean, that's just an area we gotta get better at. And I know it's hard for those guys pitching when they're, not getting any support, and so that's even what makes it more impressive. It's a lot easier to pitch when you got a big lead, but when you're, battling 0-0, 1-0, or down the game, I know it makes it a little more pressure packed. But yeah, that's been a big surprise for us this year, the starting pitching, and I just hate that we couldn't have got some guys some more wins, with our bullpen and our offense. But that has been the shining point, I think, on our season thus far.
Well, Coach, next up is a 3-game USA South Conference series at Pfeiffer. 3-game series Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, under the lights on Friday and Saturday at Pfeiffer. I know you gave the team the day off today after the big 3-game series over the weekend. What are the things you guys are going to be emphasizing heading into the Pfeiffer matchup?
Yeah, just to continue to improve and get better. I think we got some guys coming back from injury. I'm hoping, I think Christian Azell will be back, possibly Bo Shealy. I know Bray Wooten and Johnny Flynn were out this weekend too. And we've had a couple starting pitchers out as well, Michael Marion, Bryce Foster. I think they're getting healthy to be able to come back and do some things in possible relief this weekend. I don't know if they'll be ready to start again, but so yeah, that'll be helpful, getting some guys back. But Pfeiffer's a good team. They were good last year, and so far they're doing well. So we're gonna have to play well to beat them all across the board. Pitching, defense, offense. We're gonna have to play well. It's tough going on the road too against a good team. But yeah, hopefully we can build on this win and keep it rolling.
Road series this weekend at Pfeiffer, and then Tornado fans, if you want to mark your calendars, the next chance to see the Tornadoes at Gil Cohen Field, Saturday, March 30th, and Sunday, March 31st, a 3-game series versus Greensboro at home. Coach, I want to close with this. Your team has done some exceptional work in the community. There's more time and more hours available to do that kind of thing during the off season in the fall than it is at this time of year. I'm well aware, but you guys did some amazing things heading into the Christmas holiday. Really, to support those who are fighting cancer is really kind of the ongoing theme that you all have been working on for years now. And a major annual trip to Mission Health Cancer Center, where the team helped decorate the unit with Christmas decorations. Also helped out with a program, Samaritan's Purse. So a lot of great stuff during that Christmas holiday. But also, I know year-round you guys do a lot of work in the community. Can you comment on that? Just how proud you are of the team, for getting behind such important causes.
Yeah, I try to talk to the guys a lot more about other things than baseball. I know, try to keep things into perspective with the guys, and I know we're out there a lot of time. We work hard to win, but I tell the guys all the time there's a lot more to life than baseball, and being able to give back, and I think is real important to me. I mean, that's a priority of mine as a coach, and I know the guys hear me use the word perspective a lot, and we may think we're having a bad day, but we can definitely see other kids that have it a lot worse. And yeah, we've teamed up with Verse Cancer for the past I don't know how many years it's been now. 6-7 years, and by going up to the Mission Hospital, we can see where our money's going to help support those kids. And yeah, we did the Samaritan's Purse as well, and did the something I ask our guys to do is do the Christmas boxes, and they go around the world and hopefully touch the lives of a kid that we'll never know, but we don't know the impact we'll have, but someday we will. Yeah, another thing we do, we go to the Boys and Girls Club a lot in the fall. My wife's actually the executive director there, so we spent a good bit of time there hanging out with the kids and helping them out. So, but yeah, I hope our guys gain a lot from it. Usually when you volunteer and do things like that, you're helping out people, but you're helped as well, and the things you get to do. So I hope they benefit from it, and that's the goal of it, to not only help others, but to help us as well.
No doubt about it. Well, Coach, congrats on that win over the weekend over Huntington. It really created a lot of excitement around the Brevard College athletics community to see the Tornadoes knock off number 11 Huntington, and thank you for your leadership as far as, molding these student athletes, not only, to work hard on the baseball field, but also, like you said, keep it in perspective as far as putting in those hours in community service. And we'll turn it over to your two-star pitchers from the weekend.
Right.
Love to hear from these guys as far as what they have to say. But, Coach, thanks for coming on Tornado Talk. Real pleasure.
Thank you.
Head baseball coach Sean Walsh. And as we have promised you, we'll now hear from two starting pitchers who both just were lights out this weekend against Huntington. All right, joined now by sophomore right-hander Ben Melton and junior right-handed pitcher Cross Robinson. Gentlemen, thanks for joining the program.
Good to be here.
Thank you for having us.
Well, congratulations to you both. You both, put on a show this weekend, at Gil Cohen Field as starting pitcher. I know Ben probably feels a little better about things because the team ended up with a win in your start. Cross, you were sensational as well. Unfortunately, things unraveled at the end there for the Tornadoes. But would like to hear from both of you as far as, how you felt this weekend and how you felt your starting nod went.
Well, I thought mine went pretty good. Definitely, I have a different pitching style than Cross. Like, I'm not going to strike out 10 batters. If I do, it's probably just luck. And you talked about earlier Jack Atkinson making plays. I mean, that was the whole defense during my game. And if they're not, then my outing doesn't look as successful. But they played great, and we got offense early, and I just kind of had that type of day where that was all we needed, and we were able to pull out the win.
And Cross, how about yourself as far as your Sunday start went?
Yeah, it went really well. I was able to get those strikeouts, but there was absolutely no way I could have done it without having the confidence in those guys behind me. And when the ball came towards them, they made the plays they needed to do. And I thought defensively we did everything we needed to do to win the game. It's just a tough day at the plate. It happens, but I think overall defensively everybody did their jobs, and that's all you can ask for.
Well, I'm going to keep on talking about that Game 1 win over Huntington because it was big, for not just the Tornado fans who were in attendance or watching it on the video live stream, but also for the program. And I know you guys were really excited. Huntington's a formidable opponent, 11th ranked in the nation, and Tornadoes end up knocking them off in that first game with Ben used with the starting nod. Now, Kyle Williams, I'd like you each to talk about him a little bit because, the ball was handed to him and he had to finish it off in the ninth, and he did exactly that. Talk about how important Kyle can be to this team and how big he came up on Saturday.
Well, Kyle's been great, in my opinion, all year. He's come out of the bullpen and just thrown strikes, and that's what you have to do is just throw strikes to get guys out. I mean, if you throw strikes and they hit it, they hit it. I mean, that's just, that's their job as a hitter. And, I always trust Kyle coming out of the bullpen, so I felt pretty good when he was coming out of the bullpen.
Nice. Now, would like listeners to get to know a little bit about you guys personally and your own journey as well. And Cross, we'll start with you. You're a junior from Morganton, North Carolina. Let's go way back. When did you first start playing baseball?
Oh man, I guess I started like most guys on the team did, playing t-ball, and just started when I was really small, probably 5 or 6, and just never stopped. Just kind of played ever since then, and that's about it, honestly. Once I started, I knew it was game over. I wasn't going to be quitting.
Baseball, I think, more than any sport, a lot of guys just focus on it. They fall in love with baseball, and they're like, that's all I want to play, kind of thing. Did you play any other sports, or was it baseball full-time from that point forward?
It was baseball only for me. Ben Melton over here, man, he's an athlete. He can do it all. He can play a little bit of all the sports, but I just had to stick to baseball and really pitching. That's about all I had going.
Well, that's what they call a segue or a transition in the world of broadcasting, because you've set up my next question, which has been, how did you get started, and what is this athletic all-around career that Cross speaks of?
Oh, well, the other sports didn't really amount to much. I just played basketball growing up until high school, and then in high school, I played football for like my freshman year, and then just stuck with baseball. And then, but yeah, got started just 5 or 6 years old, just and falling in love with it. And then after that, like I knew that was what I wanted to do, and got to a point in my life I was like, well, I want to go to college and play. And then I don't know if you actually have this in your notes, but me and him are from the same place.
Really?
Yeah, we played against each other all through school.
Yeah.
And now teammates. So that's
That's
got to
it.
be
Yeah.
fun for you guys. You can share those memories from
Right.
high school days and now on the same side. Now, Cross. Now, as far as you wrap up your high school career and then you're thinking about college. How did you find Brevard College, or did Brevard College find you?
Actually, one of my friends from high school who played my freshman year here and last year here, he actually had to stop playing because of an injury. He was on my high school team, and he was planning to come to Brevard, and I talked to him about it a little bit and reached out to the coaches and came up here for a visit and ended up getting things worked out. So.
And same question for you, Ben. How'd you end up here at Brevard?
Coach Walsh just contacted me and, told me, he would like me to come on a visit and stuff like that. So I came up here and I loved it, and, I liked the coaching staff, and sort of the same way they reached out, and, I came up here and I love it, and yeah, committed.
Great stuff. Now, I asked your coach about the community service you guys do, and you guys were really active back around Christmas time, with a couple big projects. I'd like to hear from you guys because you guys lived it and you guys put in the work. Coach mentioned that it doesn't only help the people that you're, giving to, but it also helps you guys. There's a certain feeling you get inside when you're able to give back to the community. Can I hear from each of you as far as how special that was, to help out, especially at that cancer center, helping out, youth who are, really facing some tough times, and you guys being a positive influence?
Absolutely, yeah. It just really puts things in perspective for you. We're playing baseball here is a treat for us. It's not a right, it's not a guarantee. And to see some of the things that those kids are going through at the cancer hospital, going through that, and then some of the kids at the Boys and Girls Club where we work in the off season, it's just really eye-opening, and I think that helped us all just kind of realize, it's not just baseball. There's a bigger picture here, and I think that was huge for the team camaraderie and helping us get closer as a team.
Similar thoughts, Ben?
Yeah, I definitely think the guys got a lot from it. I mean, when we were decorating at the hospital and helping out, I think there were like 4 or 5 guys that just had like Christmas music blaring as we're decorating. So you could tell like everybody really enjoyed it, and it definitely meant something to them.
Yeah, and I know it brings you guys closer as a team too.
Definitely.
Which matters on days like Saturday when it's a 2-1 ball game and you're trying to close things out against the 11th ranked team in the nation. Well, guys, great job on the show tonight. Great job this weekend. It was a blast to watch you guys perform. And congrats to the entire team for knocking off Huntington. A great win for the program, and we'll be watching every step of the way from here on forward. Before I let you go, anybody you want to give a shout out to back home?
I'll give a shout out to my mom and dad, and then my boys back in my room currently watching Hunter Smith, Hayden Price, and Jacob Dennis.
Yeah, shout out Mom and Dad, all the boys back at school, the whole team, wouldn't be here without them.
Very good. Well, guys, good luck this weekend versus Pfeiffer. We'll continue following closely the developments of Tornadoes baseball and keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, guys. All right, Ben Melton and Cross Robinson, 2 of those stars from this past weekend versus Huntington, as the Tornadoes defeated the 11th ranked team in the nation on Saturday. A big win. Melton, 8 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 run. It was an unearned run. And Cross Robinson with a big performance on Sunday in the start. Career high 10 strikeouts. And as our next guests make their way to Tornado Talk, come on around here, ladies. right, great to be joined now by Brittany Franks, Mari Cook, and Olivia Presley.
Paulden.
Oh, I am sorry, Olivia Paulden. There's an Olivia Presley too, right?
Yeah,
Broadcaster's mistake. That one's on me.
it's okay.
Olivia Paulden, of course. Great to have you three on the show. It is my understanding you three are the captains of the softball team. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Well, let's talk about that first. What's the role of a captain? You know, when you're a captain on a team like the Tornado softball team, I would imagine you've got a little more responsibility than the rest of the players. For each of you, you know, how important is that for you to be a captain and be a leader for the rest of the team?
For me, especially, it's very important to make sure that everyone is on task, doing what they need to be doing. Either if coach is present or isn't, that's kind of our job in the leadership role, to make sure that the job's getting done either way, to make sure we have all the equipment necessary that we need, make sure practice plans go how coach intends them to, and especially just leading by example with all the girls on the team.
Mari, similar feelings?
Yes. At first, I was a little uncomfortable because I've never been in a leadership role like that. But as time goes on, it kind of becomes second nature, and I think it is a very important part of, setting a good example for other players.
It's
And
kind of the same as them. Like, you just keep everything under control and, make sure everything's there and just leading the team.
well, you all had a big win last week in the season opener in terms of conference play. If you can remember back to then, because I know you guys have been on the road since then, that doubleheader sweep on Tuesday of last week, what was the key for you guys getting the win in that one?
That was Berea, right?
Yes.
Berea, yep.
Yeah, that game our bats really came alive in that game, which we had been not necessarily struggling with leading up to that point, but was definitely not our strongest asset. But our bats really came alive in that game, and you could basically you could really see just how we were moving runners and scoring runs, and ultimately that led us to winning the game.
Well, and Olivia's bat particularly came alive in that game because I'm looking back on the numbers, 3 for 3, 3 RBIs, and a run scored. Do you feel like you were seeing the ball better than ever that
Yeah.
day? And Mari, do you recall that two-game sweep of Berea? Both games, by the way, called by run rule. 9-0 in 5 innings in game 1, 13-2 in game 2. Feel like just everything was clicking that day?
I think it was important to get both wins, especially maintaining focus for entire 2 games, which was kind of hard we have a younger team, so that was the main thing to make sure we get up.
Now, the week prior, which was spring break for Brevard College, a lot of students go off to the